All right, it worked. I didn't have a glitchy computer.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay. I can hear Jim also.
Uh, yeah. This green screen behind me that's not green. It's the Green Hornet. It it was the same way. It's supposed to be hung and then go out so you can stand on it, but I'm not using it like that.
So what do you got it hanging from?
Well, the one that I bought came with a brace and a stand already.
Oh, so you've got a stand with a crossbar?
Yeah.
Okay. I
Uh,
probably should have done that, but
yeah, I thought you wanted to try to hang yours from the ceiling.
well, that's the plan. It's sort of a mental working process right now. Yeah, with the declutter project going on in the house. It's not the highest priority. So
Of course, this is not the green screen I bought, but uh, I think that price just has to be for the green screen, but it shows the stand. That's the stand I've got.
uh-huh.
I think I paid $45 for everything. There's another view of the stand,
Mm-hmm.
but it goes. What is it? These two sections are. I want to say they're 3 foot, and then this will go 2.5 feet, or a half foot. It's like 6.5 feet tall by 10 foot across. I think is what mine is, and it comes in sections. So it comes in like 2 foot sections, so you could uh, reconfigure it to almost anything that you need it to be.
So those are not telescoping; those are fixed length sections.
Uh, the actual stands are telescoping, but they're telescoping in a fixed length, and you actually have to pull the two links clear up to get at least the 6 foot.
I see.
And then the third stand is where I make the adjustments to how tall I actually need it to be.
Ah, okay.
Or the smaller the lower section, the smaller section is where I actually make the adjustments to where I need it to be. And then the cross uh, bar, those are fixed length. You have to use. I think they come in 2 foot lengths, and I think they give you 4 sections of those. So you could configure it from 2 foot to 8 foot. I might have 5 sections of those. I thought mine was 10 foot. Thought I could do 10 foot, but they're 2 foot sections, so you could go two to any number in between for the amount of crossbars you've got.
Hmm. Okay.
Um, it was a good deal when I bought it, or at least I thought it was a good deal.
Well, it would be ideal if I could hang it from my ceiling, and that way I could roll it up when I'm not using it. And I saw some that are made kind of like a projector screen,
Yeah.
but they were a little above my threshold for pain so I didn't buy one of those. But they fasten right to the ceiling. You bolt them to the ceiling, and then
Well, they also make some that are kind of like a projector screen that you pull up. So you put it
yeah,
down on the ground behind you and pull it up.
yeah,
It's basically a reverse projector screen, I guess.
yeah.
Um, do you know what you? I've seen people take like curtain rods and hang them up, and then put their green material on like the curtain rod.
Yeah,
So there's all kinds of stuff you could do.
I could, it's
A
just,
shower rod, a shower
it,
curtain.
yeah, I was gonna say, in my case, it's simply a matter of where it is on the priority list. The ordering it was easy, and getting around to installing it is
It's a
it
whole nother ball game, huh?
well it's a question of the priority list.
Do you guys did you see on Hackaday where where some university has used algae for 3D printing?
I haven't seen that.
They are 3D printing living organisms.
Really?
It's supposed to be, of course, they use algae for a bunch of stuff, but it's supposed to be like pliable and really sturdy. And uh, I'll put a link. I'll put a link in the chat so everybody can read that. It's also something that it's a living organism, so you need to feed it whatever algae eats.
Well,
Otherwise, it'll die.
mostly it's just sunlight and water and
Yeah.
uh, and
Yeah.
some
They,
nutrients.
there was something in there about it's sunlight. It feeds off of sunlight, and it gives. I don't see it now. It gives some benefit back because of its process, but you need to take care of it apparently. But apparently it's going to be a thing soon. I guess we're going
Okay.
3D print with algae. Or we're going to be able to 3D print with algae. I don't know.
So Jim, the lights are out, or you didn't pay your light bill, or what?
It's getting dark. Leroy says it's better with the lights down. They asked me could I turn them totally off. I don't know. They have a $500 software defined radio now. Ham band, all bands, 20 watts, 500 bucks.
20 watt.
Yeah.
So it's a transceiver?
Yeah. They have a cheaper one for 250 watts. It doesn't have 10 meters. Not 250. At 250 bucks, it's 5 watts. So they're getting there.
Is it the which radio is it?
Just do a search for SDR transceiver, and you'll probably run into them. Yeah, there are a couple of, there are two major ones that I see everywhere. The 5 watt and the 20. One of them is the something 90. That's the 20 watt one. A good reviews. One of them's got a 24-bit A to D in it, and that's supposed to be give excellent quality.
Yeah, I guess. So what bands does it cover?
It covers all the ham bands, including the new ones, up to 10 meters. There, it's shortwave. It's basically, I think one of them is probably just about flat from, 1.6 to 30. Or actually, they go to long wave. Oh yeah.
Is that the one? The G90?
Yeah. That's the 20 watt one. Yeah.
Yeah. That is it's HF.
Yeah.
It's
So
an
it's the
HF
HF
radio.
bands. Okay.
Yep.
It has
And
a
that one is rated. I mean, it's most of the reviews for that one are pretty good.
yeah. Yeah, those seem to be pretty good. They have antenna tuners in them. They have to. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it looks like they're building kickers for them too. So that's cheap for a full-blown transceiver. All the hand bands,
Yeah.
all HF hand bands.
Oh. It's not just the Chinese companies that are getting into it though. The ICOM is making one that's basically an SDR. I think it's a little bit more expensive than that, but it's got the ICOM name. But it's basically an SDR radio.
Yeah, it looks like that's the way it's going because it's just so cheap to do that. Do single sideband in regular world is work.
Well, certainly standard double conversion super heterodyne is a complicated piece of work. It's also complicated in terms of getting it aligned properly.
So it looks like the HF may come back. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Well, if you're not gonna use a repeater and you want to do DX, HF is the only way to go. I think in recent years or recent decades, people have gotten so used to using repeaters and the higher frequencies that they don't remember what real ham radio was like.
Oh wow! Oh yeah! Look at that.
Yeah. Now that's the ICOM. That's I don't know how much that is.
That's ridiculous.
But it's more than the $500.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're saying $1,300. Ah!
$1,300. And
Yeah.
it's only like 5 watts, I think.
Oh man.
It's a QRP rig.
I was going to say it's basically QRP.
It's a QRP rig. But this has really, really good reviews too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see them getting down to a couple $100, and that's got me. That's a trap for me. Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, they hit certain thresholds of pain, so to speak.
Yeah.
I have threatened that if that Zagu G90 if I ever saw one for about $200, $250, I probably would grab it.
Yeah, it's over. They know that. They're just waiting.
Yeah.
It will happen.
But until that happens, it's $500 is still a little pricey for me, especially since I really don't have any way to set up a good HF antenna.
Hey, the type of radio you do is it's foreign to you. Like the radios you're interested in, I have no interest. The UHF, VHF, I got okay, I got a CV rig for that. I mean, but the people who haven't done shortwave, they're probably not terribly interested, really.
Yeah.
I can see you would be interested in that. I'm not terribly interested, actually. But for $250, like you said, I'd twist my arm.
Well, my biggest problem with, I mean, I'm licensed for, I can use all the band, but my biggest problem is I really can't put up a decent antenna to do it. So that
you could put a vertical up and be gone, or folded dipole.
I could do something a little funky, but we're getting ready to move again. So, and we're moving into an apartment, so I'm going to be even more limited to what I can do.
Yeah.
And
have you looked at the restrictions?
I could probably do something off the back of the balcony, maybe.
But you have to get Art to buy one of those remote control jobbies,
remote ones,
and talk into Russia, and it'd be great, cool, and Czechoslovakia and all of the countries that don't exist anymore.
The radios I've got, I mean, I go into the reflectors and whatever, and I could talk anywhere in the world pretty much. So, and that's on UHF.
Yeah. Mhm.
So,
I got a phone. I can call any way in the world right
well, that's true.
now.
Yeah.
I can hit the Ohio net and link up to just about anywhere in the world. So, you know,
Get on the internet. Geez,
it's, it's
whatever.
it's not so much that HF is dead. There's plenty of people wanting to use it. It's a lot of just stuff, just stuff gets in the way.
Well, it's irritating. Yeah, if you've ever used HF, I mean, like 40 meters during the day, you're wasting your time. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
15 meters is here, gone, yes, no. Yeah,
Well,
it's irritating.
using my SDR, I searched around a lot, and I didn't find a lot of activity on HF at all.
Yeah, you need an outdoor antenna for HF. And
Yeah.
they'll tell you that. A lot of articles point to that. Indoor antenna is just no good.
Yeah, you're probably not going to hear a whole lot without a decent antenna. Even the ham guys that review these things will tell you that the antennas that come with these SDRs, it's not real good for the HF band.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, the hams are, not a lot of output, typically not a lot of output power, and it's reflected off the ionosphere or whatever, and it's you need an antenna.
Yeah.
well, even with you know these handhelds that I've got that I use, a good antenna makes all the difference in the world, even at 5 watts. So
Yeah.
it's all about the antenna.
And if you're running 20 watts, yeah.
Yeah.
But it looks like they're cracking that nut. I'm surprised they can run 20 watts, and it's with a cheap unit like that, inexpensive unit. 20 watts is pretty good. All you need is a 4CX1000, and with 20 watts, you could run a 4CX1000 with 20 watts. And it'd be really nice in the wintertime.
Where's this one? I've got a Zygo G1M portable. It's a 5 watt. It's actually into that. It's really close to that. It's a QRP radio, but it's $280.
Yeah, that's the other one. It does, but it doesn't have 10 meters, I don't think. But
It's 0.5 to 30 megahertz. So
oh, okay.
Okay.
yeah.
Well, one of the other things you got going for you now anymore is so many communities have antenna restrictions that,
Yep.
The idea of going out and putting a tower in or whatever, it takes you more aggravation than it's worth to.
Oh, that's because you're out in California. Just move back over here. You'll be fine.
No.
You'll be fine.
California is less of a problem than it is in Milford, I can tell you.
Really?
Oh yeah. The HOA that we live under there is a lot more restrictive than anything I would have here. The problem we've got here is the lots are so small.
Yeah, we got the same problem. We only got 5 acres. So it's 7.
Yeah, we got 6,000 square feet here, and that lot will cost about $2.5 million without a house. So, cost of land's a little more expensive, but the HOA there in Mill that we are under there in our development in Milford, people try to put up flagpoles, and it's a hassle. You know, there's all kinds of cosmetic restrictions of what you can do and what you can't do, and so forth and so on.
One of Gail's running buddies has a flagpole antenna. It's designed for what you're talking about.
Yep. I've looked at them a couple of times because I think if you're even remotely under some sort of HOA kind of deal, a flagpole, you usually can get away with it.
I need a flagpole with a cubicle quad on top of it. Yeah. That'll
Yeah.
go, right?
I'm just displaying my banners everywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I need a rotator to rotate my banners.
Yeah.
I had rotators when I was living in New Jersey, and I got to tell you, they were generally good for about a year. The first time you got a nice ice storm and a freeze, you know, the gears would strip out in them. They'd just self-destruct. It was a real pain. I assume that this was 40 years ago, so I'm assuming the technology's improved since then, but maybe not. I don't know.
I know
I had
people.
an acre. I had an acre and a quarter there in New Jersey, and that was a little more space to put things out.
I know people that buy old rotors and rebuild them, so there's probably money to be made somewhere in there.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that would happen was the antennas themselves. You go out in the yard and find these aluminum, aluminum strips that had dropped off the beam there. And where'd that come from? And you look up on the roof, and oh, yeah, we're operating with 2 less elements than we had a week ago. It was ice storms that mostly did them in. Snow didn't bother them, but ice storms would, I don't know whether it was just they coated with ice and they were so heavy that they, of course, most of them were aluminum. And I don't know if it was just a coating of ice that made them heavy enough that the wind would then catch them and break them off. I finally ended up putting some small beams under the roof at a relatively large attic space, but I couldn't rotate them. I had to put them in one position.
Oh,
but
yeah.
You didn't have a swing. You didn't have enough radius to swing them. So if you were working east-west, you were fine. But if you wanted to work north-south, in my house, you were just SOL. Okay. So.
What about a loop antenna? Have you used a loop?
Not that I ever recall.
I've heard decent things about them, and using them in the attics where they can swing.
Well, you certainly would be able to rotate them, but keep in mind, we're talking about the technologies of the mid 70s. Okay. I haven't lived in New Jersey since 1979. So.
And that's a good thing.
Well, there are good parts and bad parts.
Yeah.
See, a loop antenna. A loop antenna will cost more than that G90 radio. That could be an issue.
One of my neighbors has a ZEP,
A what?
A ZEP,
A ZEP?
ZEPP. Look that one up. It looks like what I thought was a ZEP anyway.
A ZEP antenna?
Yep. And you better have some old books when you look for a ZEP. Let's see if I can find one.
Well, we haven't, neither Mike has shown up
Is
nor
that-
Vicente.
Yeah. Is that like a ladder line? Ladder?
Yeah, it looks like a ladder. Yeah.
Okay. I've seen those before. I didn't know they had a specific name. I always just called them ladder lines.
Well, I think they're 300 ohm, but they're supposed to be excellent antennas.
So you need a balun to bring it into the right
Yeah, yeah.
for your radio.
Oh, yeah.
That thing. I've seen those before. I didn't know they actually had a name.
Well, there's one right around the corner up there on Britton Avenue.
Huh.
So it's yeah. Throw that out the window, maybe.
Double-ended ZEP. Okay, and I'm getting the feeder, the ZEP. I'm getting the feeder. Oh, here's a ZEP. Oh my God. Double ZEP. The single ZEP just has the ladder going up. That's the feeder cable.
And then it's a dipole.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the double ZEP, the dipole has the same double wire insulator thing
Okay.
going on.
Huh.
So you got the double wire insulator going through each leg too.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
See, I never knew that those were called ZEPs. I always just called those ladder line.
So what do? You hang that between a couple of trees, or how does it work?
It's just like putting up a dipole. Yeah, you hang it between a couple of trees, and then all your neighbors know you've got one quick.
Well, if it's tuned for HF, they're going to know, aren't they?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I had one of those that was it was VHF, and so it was a lot smaller. That was basically what it was. And I strung it up between two trees, and it worked like a champ. And like I said, I never knew that it was called a ZEP. I always called it a ladder line antenna.
So basically you use that for DX or what?
No, I used it because I lived inside of a big metal box and I couldn't get anything else to work. So I found that in a box of junk that I had bought at an auction, and I hooked it up to my SWR meter, and it peaked out in the 2 meter thing, and I was like, okay, so it must be a 2 meter antenna, and it was roughly the right size for a 2 meter antenna. So I said, okay, hung it up, and it worked great. It worked like a champ.
How about a half wave end-fed ZEP antennas? Ooh. Ooh.
It sounds impressive.
That's a booger. You need to see the diagram for that thing. Oh my God.
Well,
Yeah,
Jim, you shouldn't have any problem there. The land you've got, I would think you could put up all kinds of antennas.
Yeah, I got some nice, probably 150 kV in the front yard. So build it away from the front yard for sure.
Huh. Do you see? I put a link to Radio Oddity. They've got that G90 for $430.
Yeah, stop that. Take that off. Don't put that up there. Somebody be buying stuff. Yeah.
They're getting there. I mean, still out of my price range.
And the good news is they've made them almost idiot proof with the tuners built in. And as long as you stay lower than 3 to 1 SWR, it'll tune it automatically.
I think that, yeah, I think that G90, won't it?
Oh
Won't
yeah.
it tell you if your SWRs are wacky?
Well, they'll just fix it. If it goes above 3, it'll probably tell you it's true. But they're made to handle a 3, which is ungodly bad. You got a coat hanger. If you got a 3, yeah, that's a pretty bad coat hanger, and a bad coat hanger too. Yeah.
Yeah, I one of my I think I had an old icon. No, it was an old ASU, and it would tell you if your SWRs were wacky. I had a 120-inch whip on the back of one of my cars, and I would hit the button, and it would go finding the right whatever. Nope, your SWRs are too wacky. I can't help you. Okay.
Yeah, and these will probably display the SWR.
Yeah.
Man, it's hard.
So how long was this whip you had on the back of the car?
Well, it was a 102-inch. It was an old CB whip, is what it was. It was a 102-inch CB whip.
And you had this mounted to the bumper, or?
I had it mounted to the bumper, and it was a I forget what it was, 817, Yaesu 817. It was a QRP radio, and I never ever got it to work quite right. I could hear things. I could hear a great many number of things, but nobody ever wanted to talk to me. So
Yeah, you got to have a good antenna to talk. You could listen on anything, but you better have a good one to talk.
It would tell you. I mean, when you keyed up, it would drop the power down to, I don't know, some really low number, and then it would cycle through, and it would try to tell you if your SWRs were good, and if they were just completely wacky, it would shut the transmitter off completely. It did not try to tune the antenna. It just would tell you if it was a good match or if it was wacky. So, and sometimes it would be fine 1 minute, and then you would cruise down the road and it would go wacky on you. So it just never worked quite right. My guess is the antenna was doing this number.
Yeah.
But in theory, it was the right size antenna. It just never quite worked, and I never really had enough power to actually make it work. So. But that was when I did that and we figured out some stuff. That was when I was taking one of those classes, and the instructor, he even said, yeah, it's probably the right size antenna, but you're not going to be happy. It won't perform the way you think it will. And he was right. So.
So what's the plan when you go back to midpoint?
I
Or are
don't
you
know.
gonna go someplace else?
I don't know. Jim, is there a plan?
Now they gotta notify us. They gotta come after us.
Well,
But the library will tell us when they're opening up, I'm sure. And Leroy's got connections.
I don't know if I've got
Oh,
connections.
yeah?
The library, he'd know.
Uh, no, you know, my dad doesn't work there anymore.
No.
They kind of laid him off this past year,
Ah,
and they're not planning on reinstating his position. So
okay.
so
He
I
was
really
at
don't have
midpoint?
connection anymore.
He
Do
was
I?
at midpoint?
Yeah, yeah. He the job he was doing, you know, COVID kind of shut it down, and I don't think they're planning on redoing it. So, and you know, he's 80 some odd years old. He's ready to retire anyway. So,
Interesting.
um, yeah. The general plan, though, or at least what I would like to do, is at least have one set, at least one session that we open up with Zoom. But we're probably going to have to get back down there to the library and make sure everything's working the way we think it should and everything.
Was the library open at all or just for drop off and pick up?
It is open, but I think they're still limiting everything right now. It looked to me like the meeting rooms were going to be open on the 7th, which was a couple days ago, 3 days ago. But there's no way to schedule a meeting that I saw. So I don't know. I mean, I really don't.
So you're talking about the big meeting rooms across the hall there.
Yeah.
You're not talking about the little study rooms that they've got there.
No. No, the big meeting rooms were supposed to be reopened. If you believe the midpoint site, it was supposed to reopen on the 7th. But I didn't see any way to schedule a room, so I don't know. But
So
we had some interesting issues with using the internet there anyway. So we're just going to probably have to play it by ear for at least the first couple of meetings to see.
yeah.
We're probably gonna have to use what do they call them? Where you tap into your phone.
Yeah, yeah, maybe. But I'd like to continue to have the at least one session of the virtual meeting going.
Yeah.
I think it works really well, and you know, you
Yeah.
being in California, we can at least see you and talk to you.
Yeah. By the way, I have a question about the postings you're doing on YouTube. I looked at a couple of meetings ago. I looked at it essentially right after the meeting closed down or was over, and the video was there, the audio was there,
Okay.
but closed caption wasn't there. Then I
Uh,
looked a couple of days later and closed caption was there. So did they take a while to process the closed captioning?
apparently, because I didn't even know they were closed captioning it.
Oh yeah, the all the older ones are closed captioned.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Hmm.
So apparently, if you're paying that much attention, I guess it's taken a couple of days to do it. We're down to about 19 seconds.
Yep.
Midpoint Library, Liberty, Foundry. That sound familiar, Leroy?
Foundry? No.
Foundry Row, 7100 Foundry Row. Oh, okay.
Bye. Bye.